Hi everyone, my name is Simon Mishevich from Optimize Accountants, and as the title says, Conservative Party, they must really hate landlords. And I'm going to go into the wheres and wherefores. I'm also going to talk about the impact that the Conservative Party and Labour, let's be fair, will have on not just on landlords, because I know there's a lot of people that hate landlords, and I get that there are some rogue landlords. But there are some people that really need them because they need a home. So whichever camp you're in, strap in. Let's go through some of the comments that I have. There are some free tax calculators. So if you want to have a look at those, they are going to be updated by the time you access them. So feel free to go access those using that QR code that's shown on the right hand side. But let's talk about the tax grabs, and I'm going to focus on each point as we go along. So the first of all was the 2015-16 tax year, and it was the removal of the 10% wear and tear allowance. So those landlords that had furnished properties that had beds, cabinets, furnishings like sofas and TVs, whatever, they were allowed a 10% wear and tear allowance because they weren't allowed to offset the initial costs of setting up a home, in particular HMO, student lets, that kind of thing. But HMRC removed the 10% wear and tear allowance in 2015-16, so they weren't allowed some substantial tax savings on their property. Then they had another go in the following tax years of 2016-17 by removing mortgage interest, so Section 24 mortgage interest relief cap, which prevented landlords who had buy-to-let properties from offsetting the interest costs of their business against their rental income, which every other business is allowed to do. But landlords not, apparently, because it's not a business, is it? So this is where they had the interest removed. You get a 20% tax reducer instead, but it meant that some of my clients were paying more tax than the profits being made on their property. Then in 2017-18, we had the introduction of the 3% SDLT high rate, whereby if you have a second property in your own name, you'd pay the 3%. If you're buying a property inside of a limited company, guess what? Yep, you pay the 3% there as well. So there's 3 in consecutive years where pretty much you can talk about putting taxes up for landlords, but it doesn't really stop there. By the way, if you're looking for some UK, US tax advice or international tax advice, feel free to use that QR code that's just appearing on the screen. In 2019-20 tax year, then they removed lettings relief for if you sold a property, then you would offset lettings relief at the time the property tenants were in the property. So on top of the private residence relief, landlords also got lettings relief. Now this is in the idea of really trying to help landlords free up properties. That was the mantra, to sell their properties to free up housing in the marketplace. But then they brought in lettings relief to really double jab the landlord by saying, well, if you do sell them, even though we want you to sell it, we're going to penalise you for doing it. It really is contradictory how this government works and operates, in my opinion. And this just the removal of lettings relief when they're trying to free up properties, you would incentivise people to sell their properties, not punish them. It's counterintuitive. So well done, the Conservative Party, for yet again haphazard approach to taxation. In the 2022-23 tax year, then we had the new increases for CGT. So anyone selling shares, you have a 10% tax rate for basic rate taxpayers. But if you're selling residential property, it was increased to 18%. And then if you're selling shares as a high rate taxpayer, you pay 20% capital gains tax on the profits made. But if you're selling residential property, it's 28%. So again, this mantra of we want to free up the whole housing shortages by landlords selling off their properties, we're going to put this in place. Again, it just makes no sense whatsoever. If you're going to try and do something, incentivize people, punishing them just means I'm not going to sell it. I'm just going to carry on renting it, because if I pay more tax by selling the property, I may as well carry on. So that's really just a shot in the dark prayer from Conservatives. And yet just another real example of how directionless they really are. I've been a Conservative voter for a long time. Even I'm dismayed at what I'm seeing. And now we're seeing the removal of the furnished holiday let tax relief. So if you have a property and you rent it out to short stay vacation, then the mortgage interest cost was allowed to be offset. But now in 2025-26, it won't be. You are able to claim capital allowances if you're fitting out the apartment or house for furnished holiday lets. Then you can claim capital allowances on the fixtures and fittings. But that's also been scrapped. And then we've also got this MDR. So landlords looking to buy 2 or 3 properties or multiple properties, then they can claim multiple dwellings relief for reducing stamp duty land tax. But that too is going to be scrapped. So this is just a year-on-year battering of landlords. The housing affordability, people say, well, actually, people will just buy houses. Those people that comment like that on YouTube, please just have a second check-in with yourself before you type that. Because ultimately, people can't afford it. House prices would have to go by 60%. I know people say, oh, I wish it would. Well, I think you're going to be causing a bigger financial crisis just by making that kind of, if that ever happened. But the house prices have become less affordable over time. Look at the house prices and how it's kind of gulfed up. The affordability, this is the kind of comparing where it was before, but house prices to wages is just crazy. And I can't see it coming down any sooner. So people can't afford homes anyway. I'm going to ignore that for now. The house prices, as you can see, have just gone up and up and up. And yes, it's coming back down, but it would need to come down significantly more than what it's shown on here for people to be able to afford it. People in the years gone by, it was 4 times your wages is a house. Now, like it's saying on here, it's getting towards more 8 and 10, right? Anyway, mortgage arrears. Now, people say, oh, people will just get a home. 99% mortgages. Hello, what's going on here? So we're bringing in 99% mortgages to get people on the ladder. Yeah, okay. So did you not know what happened in the financial crisis when Fannie Mac and all the rest of the bigger housing organisations, finance institutions went bust? No, it only happened a short while ago, Conservative Party. 99% mortgages. Housing mortgage arrears is going up drastically. People have got homes, can't afford them. When you are saying to people, get on the property ladder, 99% mortgage, don't worry about it. Mortgage interest goes up again and bang, they're in arrears. Where rents may not go up as much as it would on a mortgage. So again, I just can't see the vision that Conservative Party have. And I know there's going to be lots of people kicking the heck out of landlords. And I get that. But at the same time, look, what's the bigger picture here, folks? Because I really don't see it whatsoever. Kicking landlords, time and time again, makes no sense.